everyone.
How are you? How is everybody today?
How was your days?
It was really warm today here.
Yeah.
Like really, really warm.
We nearly went to the beach, but we decided to sit at home and watch it's very eye-opening and heart-opening.
Yeah.
This guy called Jay Shetty. Dorothy just introduced me to him. She's been watching him.
Yeah, he's really good.
And he has some very interesting interviews about some stars that we know, like Will Smith and his wife, and different conversations with these higher names.
And it's crazy.
I say higher names, but actually we're all as important as one another. And
it's crazy how so many people are turning more and more towards spirituality, alternative thinking, trying to see, behind
very good for your heart.
Apple vinegar. Trying to see behind, the veils of
life,
our existence, trying to see it from another angle. And for me, it's amazing to realize how we have this dynamic in the whole world. Like, even with people where you wouldn't have imagined that they are really, that they would be interested in topics like that, they start to talk about these things.
Spirituality. It's about spirituality.
Yeah,
So there's no big thing. If you're having these feelings of spirituality and love and different kinds of emotions that are running through us, you're not alone. Definitely not alone. Yeah. It's like...
Yes,
it's a change in the world that's going on.
Yeah. Like, there's so much... We're living in a transformational...
Period,
age, where, we had, in the very old times, we were like the human society was relating very strong to spirituality, to certain topics that were connected to gods or one god or whatever it is. It's always the same, it's not one god, two gods, or multiple gods. It's basically it's always referring to opening your mind to a higher level of understanding of of understanding the world and what is happening around you. Like, seeing that you are not just this physical body, but understanding that there is a whole world of energy around you that is filled with information,
which is also affecting the rest of the energies.
Yes, which is like, we are actually, being nourished by all this information that is around us, So it is affecting us. And that is very real. That's not just,
imaginary.
And in the old days, like our ancestors, they knew, they were trusting also these energies, these kind of like, alternative thoughts, and then, we went into the era of industry.
I'll call it coma era.
Science.
We started getting really, getting stuck on materialistic things and stuff.
Science has set certain equations. You put this and this together and this comes out, and that's it. Clear, explanations to everything.
Understand.
And which is good, it all has a place in this world, because it has also, like, now science starts to again, go look into the spiritual realm. They start to
accept it.
yeah, and also investigate into it, you know, and they start to merge with that, you know, through the quantum physics. And
like alternative medicine and nature medicine, you know.
yes, and we are living in this in between era, you know, where like energies are starting to be, you know, so high, you know, like before. We had to do like all these you know, use all these methods to clean our bodies and clean our mind, and we needed tools for that. But the higher these energies are here in the realm that we are living, the less we actually need to use tools. We set our mind on it, and it happens. You know, this is the power that we have, and this is the power that is created more and more.
And this can also be
the
dangerous.
Transformation.
This can also be dangerous if you're setting your mind on the wrong things. So yeah, you've got to really start to be conscious, become conscious about our feelings, our emotions, and all different. And we all came from a hard place. Everyone came from a hard place, because imagine you come out with your mother and you're like pure, and then all of a sudden you're fed with these things till you're about 5-6 years old, and you're living this life that's somehow not satisfying. And obviously the rich guys are even saying, you know, money doesn't bring you happiness, you know, or money can't buy love, you know.
The thing is, you know, like you know, we are pure, basically pure when we are born, you know. We are very, you know, connected to our
Nature.
To our nature, to our like being, that, you know, we are our inner being, you know, like at one point this inner being is going outside, like stepping outside when we start to evolve into an ego. That's why it's obviously called the higher self, you know, because it's stepping out, and we are, you know, we are becoming
experiences.
We are becoming the ego.
It's also this that we were hearing yesterday with that talk, that we create the ego through experiences of life, which we're here to create experiences, but we create the ego, and then with creating the ego, we're putting more veils on the truth. And
you know, like I said, you know, we're starting out pretty pure, then we start to create, you know, our personality, our identification, you know, like different identifications start to build up inside of us, and we start to connect with that. We start to think that's us, you know. And the thing is, then there are so many experiences that are coming into our world that are very, like, that are imprinting us, you know, like painful experiences, beautiful experiences, trauma experiences, everything, you know. And it's kind of like imprinting into our personalities, or into our different identities, right? And
you hear that? Different identities.
Yeah, because
So
we have different identities.
We're not this one pure thing anymore. We've become a whole heap of different pieces.
Kind of like we have different entities inside of us, and they all want to live, and they all are chattering with one another, and they all try to, you know, talk against one another, trying to push their idea onto the other identities, you know, make their idea valid,
and to become a solid rock. That this is me, which is, there can't be nothing further from the truth.
But the thing is, where we have to get to at one point is to heal our inner self. Right? You know, like there's so much confusion and so much pain and so many scars inside of us.
And Donna wrote corrupted, and that's what we become. We become corrupted within ourselves. That's right.
It's, yeah. It's like, I also think sometimes, like, you know, we become domesticated, you know, like, I mean, I know you only use it for pets, you know.
Animals.
But it's kind of like, you know, we learn to, you know, like
sit
we learn to put on certain masks depending on who's talking to us, right? You know, we have our parents, we put the mask on to talk to our parents. We have like our school friends, and we put the mask on that we would use to talk to our, you know, school friends.
Can I just add something there? Because this is, because we're slowly getting pushed away from our true being. Now we're starting to feel like we have to fit in, and to fit in at the Dracula show, I've got to be wearing Dracula teeth. Now to fit in at the witch show, I've got to wear the pointy hat, because we're not feeling like we actually fit inside ourselves anymore. We're too scared to say, this is Philip and this is what I believe in, you know, and also not to take it on as in like some kind of 10 commandment. This is me and this is how I feel, and that's you and that's how you feel, and that's beautiful, you know. This is the thing that we're not understanding. We're thinking like we've got to always change everybody else's mind. For me, in the last years, it became so important to unconditionally love people for who they are. I've realised in me, when I wanted serious change, and I come from a place of dark, when I wanted to turn that light on inside of me, I had to turn that on. Listening to different things helped me turn that light on. So you are the actual creator of your own happiness. So this is really, it's huge, it's mammoth. When you can, even when you can say something, this is something else we heard today, that if you can help someone continue along on their path because they got stuck somewhere, that's like, whoa. I mean, like, I'm like, whoa, man, that's like godly when you can help people get through a rough situation.
And, you know, like, the thing is, nobody's teaching us that. You know, we go to school and we learn so many things that
block us
are they don't have no worth at all, you know. But the really, really important thing that we should learn is, how do I value myself? You know, what is actually, you know, how do I learn to look inside of myself and really understand, what do I want, you know? Like, and we're not allowed to say what we want. You know, in school you're like, okay, that's it, you know, you have to learn this. If you don't want that, you're gonna
put your hand up, waiting for the teacher so you can have your say, waiting for somebody to let you have your say. And there's many times you put your hand up and you don't get the chance to say your say because the teacher likes that person and they're asking them, or they think you're not valuable enough, which is also creating another brick in the wall. So now there's like not just one layer of a wall that you created, then the teacher's doing this and your grandpa's doing that, and all of a sudden you've got like 10 walls in front of you. So then it's, for me, I found it super easy because I'm like so mind structured on certain things. People say it's the hardest thing to do, and I can understand that. I found it super easy because it's like, this is what's controlling the rest of this. So if you can control this and be the master of your mind, you can also be the master of yourself. This seems a little bit like, oh yeah, sure, Phil, and I totally understand it. I even got into meditation before I even knew what meditation is, just by sitting there and breathing by myself. I was like, the darkness had brought a different kind of light. So actually the easiest thing to do in your life is love and accept you. If you take away all the things that make you feel that that's not okay to do. So when you can start to say, oh, well, that's what that person said, and that person said, I don't really care what they said, because when I'm looking in the mirror at Philip and I'm thinking, you're doing the best you can do. This is so important. So why should you care even about what your wife's saying? You shouldn't. You should be able to look in there and say, okay, look, I got angry today at someone because he cut me off on the road, and tomorrow I'm going to try not to get angry at anyone. And there's going to be a lot of people trying to cut you off on the road, and it's like, okay, just make space, let them go through. Don't become this clash of the ego or the pain bodies. Don't become that, because that's not who you are. You are a huge, there's not even a word that can even say of how big amount of love you in yourself have. There's not even a word that's been created. Enormous, marvelous.
And the thing
Humongous.
is, what we have to understand, we go like, yes, 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 I have that love inside of me. I can see that. I have that love inside of me. But we're talking to everyone. So it's not only you, it's everybody around you who also is reacting like that. They all feel like, yes, yes, I have that love inside of me, you know. So do you know, like, we have to understand that everybody else has this love inside of them,
all of us.
is resonating with this. It's not only me, you know. We are all resonating with
You
this.
have to look after you.
So
Because
if
I'm
we
doing my
feel-
best, she's doing her best. The best is coming out.
If we feel now, you know, like, yes, I'm you know, or lovable, you know, some people have a problem to think they are lovable, but everybody can resonate with having a feeling of love inside, right? But the other person doesn't have that. You know, this other person, you know, they don't have love inside of them. You know, we're so easy with judging other people, but we don't understand that everybody has the same
humongous amount of love
resonance
inside of them.
towards love.
Yeah.
You know, like, because we like, it's one, and we are one energy, and we are just one particle of this energy, and this whole energy is love,
Yeah.
and we are just one part of it.
And that's why there's also another thing, because when I met Dorothy, you know, well, things that really bothered me was older people touching kids and stuff like that. I thought it's like taking away the pureness, you know. It's like, it bothered me because I actually, for those who don't know, when I was younger, I wanted to become a kindergarten teacher, because after I had my kids, I thought, oh my God, this is where you can actually touch people's minds and make them understand that love is a huge amount, and it's the hugest amount of beautiful energy that somebody can have inside them, and then they can release this and let go of normally past doings to become this love. They become this humongous amount of power. Do you know what I mean? And also, love doesn't have an opposite. Like we say, oh, love and hate. Hate's not the opposite of love. Hate's not the opposite of love. So we are actually made of love, because in our real essence, we have this. We're drawn to love. We want to love. We want to be loved. We want to share love. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when you can start to unlock these doors that you've somehow put inside your mind that are locked, and you're looking for these keys, when you start to understand these little differences, and where this come from and where that come from, and, oh, that's not really my thinking, so maybe I should start thinking in a different way. When you start to understand these little things, life becomes so rich. I'm not talking about money, because money is just a tool we use to think that we're happy and rich. Money's just a thing to buy the things we need for a certain time in our life. So when you really become rich in your heart, you're unstoppable. I mean, you can start wearing your underwear on the outside and you're like Superman. I mean, like, you're unstoppable. When you start being unconditional love to every human being and everything, and every animal and every earth thing, there's no words. I'm like stuck for words, and I'm like someone who can normally talk, but I'm stuck for words, because you've become, what's it they said, one of the guys, you've become, it's like, kind of like untouchable. I have to say, like, kind of nothing can affect you and bring you down. Imagine you would never feel down ever again in your life, because there's nothing on this planet that can bring you down, because you're so inside yourself, knowing that you're creating a great feeling.
And
It's amazing.
And what we always have to remember is, everybody wants that, you know, like, it's not, you know, like, we sometimes don't see that with other people, because, you know, like,
because we haven't found it ourselves.
What we have to understand is, the people that ask for most love are asking in the most unlovable way,
Yeah.
right?
Because
So
they're stuck.
it's like, the people that need the most love, they are asking for love in the most unlovable way, because they are so
Hurt.
and disappointed and desperate inside of them that they get aggressive, But
Yeah.
it's all, it's all a call for love, in the end. So, we cannot exclude anyone. And, Philip was talking about people that are touching kids. That's a very sensitive topic.
Definitely.
I know, and many people might go like, no, that's something,
But he's a part of the whole that I'm living in.
Yeah, who am I to judge this creation of, whatever you want to call it, universe, God, gods, whatever it is a creation, that there is a process of creation that is happening, and it is expanding, there is an energy. Otherwise we wouldn't be able to do the things we do, to move, to act, to breathe, it's all energy. Everything is a part of this whole creation. And who am I, this little particle, to judge that this other particle, no, that's not supposed to be. I can't say that. I'm not the one to say it, Yes, my ego goes...
The ego. There we go on another story.
I
ego.
can't take it. I can't see it. I don't want to watch it, right? And that's okay, because we're living in this, we agree to certain things, and that's good. We have to agree to certain morals, otherwise it would be Babylon or whatever, it would be crazy. But if you see it,
Sage, get down.
No, you can't come in. You're too crazy. She goes like, okay. So if we, if we see that we are energy, and we are, we are loving energy, and we are built upon that. Even, the particles, these people. You're so crazy.
This is energy. This is pure energy.
This is life energy. We just wanted to show you an example of life energy.
Stop.
Okay, it's enough. Just calm down. All right.
This is another pure energy.
So, if you understand that, even this part, all particles, even the particles that we judge from our ego perspective as, not, something that doesn't have enough worth to exist, right? It does exist, and it does send certain information. It's radiating certain information into the space, and we cannot judge it as good or bad. It is just as it is.
It is.
It's
isness.
Isness, and to be able to keep our pureness in our heart, to keep our beauty in our heart, to be full of love, we have to let this go. Yeah, it doesn't mean if we get into a situation where we could help a kid, of course we should do it, yes, of course, if we don't put ourselves into danger, or into potential danger, we have to be careful with that. But if we can help, of course we should do it, right? Because we are living in this material, ego world, and we agree to certain things. But to be able to keep love, peace, serenity in our heart, we have to let this go. We have to detach from the feeling of
judgment.
It's not right. It's not okay. I don't want this to happen, because it's happening anyway.
Yeah.
You know, and the creation has created it. It is there.
It might be for your healing,
So
might be for the neighbor's healing.
So do you want to have, this feeling of I'm full of hate, I'm full of despair, I'm full of disappointment in your heart because of that? Or do you say, no, I want to keep my heart pure and say, okay, it's happening and I'm going to help if I can help, but it's not helping nobody to have hate in your heart. No, it's
killing you, first of all.
Of
It kills
no
you.
benefit for anybody.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and even if you imagine, you have hate in your heart, what do you radiate out? And everybody who has hate in their hearts, they are all radiating this energy
A negative
out.
energy.
So this is what the space is fed with, and this is what we are creating as a co-creation.
Yeah.
So doesn't it make sense to cultivate love in your heart? And if everybody is doing that, or a big amount of people are doing that, what kind of world is going to arise from that? It makes perfectly sense to me,
This is why we also talked about this once before. I'm against haters, let's say. You're still against. Against is still against. Now, you hating a hater makes you nothing better than the actual hater. So we've got to start to change our minds and think about this. It can be super painful, especially when it comes to loved ones and things like this. It can be super painful. I totally understand. Like we're talking about Arjuna's journey yesterday, finding everybody had overthrown his kingdom, and then he preferred to be killed than to have to go through having to kill his
family and
yeah.
siblings.
So this is the big, huge. You are against anything. It's an anger, it's an upsetness that's inside your heart, and it's taken away the space that love can fill. So this is, believe me, I totally understand. Everyone, we've all been there. It's not just me. Everyone's been there. We've lost people. People that we thought we could trust, but then they become untrustworthy. And what actually happens there when someone's betrayed your trust? What's actually happened? You've been given the golden ticket, because you can start spending your time with people that you can be trusting and that you can depend on. So let's not look at things in a negative way. Let's start looking at things in a more positive way. This has happened. I've lost money before. I've lost I've lost girlfriends. I've lost all kinds of different things in every kind of aspect. And it was my journey. I chose this. I chose this in some way. I was radiating this, and I chose to have this in my life to be able to overcome this obstacle.
And
Like
it's
that,
always what?
Yeah.
It's always the big question, actually, is really, the question about betrayal, is that really possible?
or is
right?
that something we've made up because we feel like we're getting ripped off?
Because is really anybody betraying us, or is that the story that we tell?
Or we hurt that we trusted someone that did this. We start to, do you know what I mean? We're like, oh my God, I trusted that person, I lent him some money, and he hasn't paid me back. I feel so betrayed.
But is that a betrayal? That's the big question, right? Is it really, because, our ego loves to make up the story of someone betrayed me, and it's, in the end, it's all a lesson. Everything that we do, we're doing it because we want to,
Grow.
We want to learn, not,
Evolve.
our ego maybe not, but our soul wants to learn and wants to
Rise
become
above.
a brighter understanding, not
like-
understanding from the head but from the heart,
Also, like a flower, I heard this also the other day, like a flower, it starts to grow. If you try to help a flower grow, like start to open its petals a little bit or help it, even with tweezers or whatever, you start to kill it.
it's not working.
What you got to do when you're growing a flower is make sure it's got water. And that is what I mean by love. So you've got love and you're pushing out love. Your flower inside of you is growing. It's growing and it's non-stop. It doesn't stop growing because you're watering it. So if you start watering with against and hatred to certain things, even though they might not seem politically or mentally correct, you're starting to poison you. And so you've put that flower on pause, so it's there. It was like this, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh God, that happened. Oh, okay, so it's closing up. And then you're not having this flow of the 3 meter positive energy around you anymore because something happened, and we're like, oh my God, that happened to me. And so there comes the pain body and all these other different things, rather than look at it as like, wow, that happened. Oh, because actually 2 days ago I was a little bit sleepy about what was going on. I didn't want to pay attention because I was smoking my joint, and I felt great about smoking my joint, so I didn't have to worry about that problem. But that was the point where if I was aware, this wouldn't be happening now. If that makes sense.
So in the end, it's always about finding the gratefulness in everything. Like there is no betrayal. Nobody's betraying you. It's like, yes, we would love to see it sometimes because our ego, our pain body loves the drama, feels comfortable and home in the drama, right? But it's not a betrayal. If we don't put that narrative into us, it's not a betrayal. Somebody's doing something, they're saying something. They can do and say whatever they want. That's their story. But if you take that story into you, if you take it over, if you go like, oh, but I believed him. Well, there's, like, yes,
He
you
probably
can.
believed himself.
Yeah, probably. You can believe him. But, like there's always a possibility that the story is not exactly how the person
How you want it to
putting
be.
it out.
How you want it to be. Because don't forget, you're looking through your eyes, which is totally true. She's my wife, and we spend a lot of time together apart from when we're working. And she totally sees things in a different light than what I see them. And I can't be like, oh, that's good or bad or right or wrong. That's how she sees that situation. And loving someone unconditionally, you accept that that's the way they see it, and that's okay. We can't imagine we're all living with the same thought. What would be happening? It would be like, it would be crazy,
And we are, if we really take this thought out, oh, this is, somebody did me wrong, or somebody betrayed me, or, all these thoughts that are kind of like victim state thoughts, if you take,
vibration state.
but you're putting yourself into a victim state because, you say, this person has done that to me. This is kind of like a victim state. If you take that, take that out and go back into, I have control. It's my decision. If I believe something, if I go into the story, whatever it is, taking back your control.
You are the master.
Then then you can really heal all these aspects inside of you that are so mistrusting, that are constantly seeing danger outside of you. There's everywhere danger. If we feel like we cannot trust, everything around us is danger,
Imagine what kind of life that would be. You'd
It's like a survival mode.
50, 60 end up with cancer of some kind of weird one that they just made up because you've been living in a stressed way of life because you're worried that someone's going to hurt you, someone's going to, rather than to be like, I'm going out there with this full power, energy, I'm in control of my emotions, nothing can hurt this cyclone. Do you know what
Like
I mean?
I was riding my bike the other day, and
Oh yeah.
and you know, like I had my giveaway road. I was on my giveaway road, and there was a car that was like crossing me, and it had a stop sign. It was going over the stop sign, and I had to brake, and it was okay. You know, like my instincts are, like my impulses were good. You know, so it wasn't really, you know, dangerous, but you know, I was really like, oh, whoa, you know, and the lady in the car, she was just like, oh shit, you know, she didn't want to go into discussions. I was like smiling at her, because, you know, it's instantly in that moment I was like, whoa, nothing happened. That's awesome, you know?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that was a
not-
good impulse.
No,
And I wanted to share that with her. But instead of this beauty, she was just going, and she's like, oh shit, you know, like I don't want to get into any discussions or into any stress. And what I did was, when I was riding on, I was like, I would have loved to have like a nice smile with her, but that's okay. But what I did was like, I was like, thank you, you know, because everything was good. Instead of being angry, instead of being, you know, oh my God, I could have been killed. I could have been, you know, I could have lost a limb or whatever. No, but nothing happened.
Yeah.
It didn't happen,
So
you
the
know.
vibration stayed high.
I can get, you know, I can get disappointed. I can get, you know, like angry. I can get everything if I really would have lost my leg, you know.
Or lost control of the situation.
Yeah, but you know, like, you know, if I really would have, you know, landed in a wheelchair, yeah, shit. But it didn't, you know. So why am I gonna, you know, why being upset about something that didn't happen, right? So this is where we can really practice in our everyday life to get into the space of, whoa, life is amazing. And
Look how lucky I am.
yeah, when you get to that, nothing can really harm you, because you're not, you know, this is the way how you start to generate this energy field around you, which is radiating on a certain energy that is beneficial for you, you know, instead of.
If Dorothy, we talked about this also a couple of days ago, if Dorothy's in a pain body state, worried about something else while she's riding the bike, she probably would have had an accident.
Yeah.
Because she wouldn't have been like, well, there's a car coming, oh my God, I don't see it stopping. Okay, it didn't stop. Oh, brakes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
Pain
mean?
bodies meet pain bodies in accidents.
Yes. Yeah.
This is not a judgment, you know, like people have accidents, and it's not like, oh, do you think I want to have this accident? No, you know, that's not it. It's really subtle. It's really subconscious. But becoming aware of that
It's becoming another story
can
in your pain body's
change
culture.
so much, you know, if you become aware that you are the creator,
And
you know.
master.
And, you know, if you have an accident or an almost accident or whatever, you've kind of like attracted it into your energy field. Becoming aware of that is a huge game changer. Yeah. And then you can, because if you start to become aware of that, you can start to change your thoughts, your energy fields. You can start to look inside, you know, what's actually happening. You know, the more that I understand that, you know, and there are little things that are happening, you know, like I'm hitting myself and it hurts or whatever, yeah, like really hurts, you know, if I have something and it really hurts, I hit my foot, and then I go like, what was my thought right now in that moment? And it was a thought that was not beneficial for me in that moment. You know, like if you start to sharpen your awareness on that, you realize, oh, wow, this is why it happened. You know, you can pinpoint it
I
out.
was being unconscious for a moment.
Yes. Or you have like thoughts that are not like, you know, I don't want to say negative, positive, beneficial. They are not really desirable. They are not beneficial for you, you know.
Yeah.
beneficial in a way, like, you know, that you don't really
Serving
want them
you.
serving you.
Yeah.
Beneficial, everything is beneficial, right? Like everything is something to learn from, right? It's like, it's huge, the amount of learning that we are stepping in once we have, you know, entered this plane, this world. It's huge. It's like the whole life is a schoolroom.
And like stepping stones. This happened, so I'll be able to get over that bit. So I had to learn to jump 1 foot before I could jump 3, because there would be no way I'd be able to have the muscles and strength in my legs to be able to jump 3 feet if I hadn't jumped 1 and 2 so many times before. So rather than look at the past as a negativity, rather look at it as a stepping stone to help you climb your Mount Kilimanjaro. You know, it's like
and learn to
appreciate yeah.
and learn to catch your thoughts. It's really like we said so many times, it's such a practice to catch yourself again and again, and it's so easy to snatch back into the negative, you know, negative energy.
This is your
you know?
your power. What goes on in here is because of you, and it's because of what the eyes are seeing or because of the external world. But when you start to realize that what goes on in here is actually coming from here, the universe changes. Everything changes. And yes, there are uncomfortable situations, but why are they uncomfortable? Because we felt comfort before, and now we know this is uncomfortable. So we can start to de-label situations, like take the meaning out of them in some kind of way. Would you agree? Then it starts turning into, you've been put here. They say this is really crazy. They say you can pick your parents and your family, and you're supposed to come to this earth 7 times before you have reached a higher level of understanding, which you don't need to come back to the training grounds. Can be true, can be not. Maybe we just die. Maybe obviously the things we create here are not passed on to the next world, because we wouldn't find empty pyramids. So obviously the things that are from here stay here. But the teachings and the opening of the soul and heart is definitely moving towards a positive way of life, I believe. And it's been said a million times before. You know, there's even a Bible, there's actually a Bible story. I read a lot of different scriptures. So there's one in the Bible, it was Lazarus. He was dead, and Jesus rose him from the dead. And then apparently Lazarus was alive for another 40 years after his first death experience, and not near death, he was dead. And so after that he was alive for 40 years, and one day he just laughed, and someone goes, "Oh my God, Lazarus is laughing, what's going on?" And they went close and said, "Why are you laughing?" And he was laughing because there was a person, stealing a pot. And he goes, "I'm laughing because it's like one earth, the body, stealing earth." And I find that rather funny. So it's just something to contemplate on, right? So everything that's from this earth, even our body, which we live in all our living years, stays here. The inside, the internal spirit, which we should be having this flower blossoming and becoming a superpower.
And let it blossom in its own pace.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
You cannot
Don't
force
rush
it open.
Don't rush it.
It's,
just let it go.
everybody,
to make for growing.
every single one has their own pace, and you cannot judge anyone on where they are, because they are where they are. You know, like they have, you know, experienced so and so much, and that's where they are. That's the status where they are. You know, and if you feel like they should be somewhere else, that's
like walking backwards in your own shoes, because you're judging somebody. I needed to stop smoking weed 100 times before I could actually really stop, right? I needed that. And I was like, okay, this is the last joint. She's like, hey, like, which last joint? She's like, she started saying that. I was like, I'm not sure which. Might be the third last one. I'm not really sure. But when I started to realise certain things, I needed all that before to become and be what I have become and am at the moment. And this is the whole thing. No one can speed that flower opening up. That flower opens up when you start feeding it with love, which is like water. That flower opens up, and then you start to understand things that you won't. If I say now, I'm understanding things that I couldn't even contemplate were in an understanding process. Right? So I'm growing, and I made mistakes a lot of times, and they're all different mistakes. My fellow will say, "Oh, but that's happened to you before." It's like it was a different situation. Never is one moment the same as the other. So every moment that ticks by is another chance of expanding and growing. When we start judging people and saying, "Oh, they're like this or this," we're starting to deprive that flower of water. So this thing that's starting to open up is all of a sudden closing back again. And if we want to be living in a positive way of life, we definitely don't want to restrict the water from our flower. We want to keep feeding it with the love that we are, and we all are, and start to take away negative emotions. Another thing that I'm actually writing a book. No, I just want to do it for free, but I want to see what happens with it. But when I was young, with the way I grew up, I realised I wasn't really allowed to have emotions. So I sort of blocked them. I thought I took them out of me, but I blocked them. And now when I'm with Dorothy, and I'm like so fully emotional over stuff, like the craziest stuff. Could be a cartoon and something's happened where the son's helped the dad or saved the planet, and I'll be crying because I'm like, oh my God, it's such a deeper sense. It's not just this crazy cartoon or whatever. So through blocking all these blockages and walls that I'd created inside myself from the way I grew up, I didn't actually get rid of my emotions. I just built a door and locked them in somewhere. And now that I've started to become free and that door's disappeared because there is no door, I'm so connected to my femininity, I would say. I'm so emotional on certain things. I'm still a rock, don't get me wrong, right? But I'm so emotional, and I'm a shy person. When I get to know you, I would like cut open the chest and give you the heart, right? But until that comfortable feeling comes, normally this is a misunderstanding of mine too. Suddenly something happens for me to be able to do this. Like something happens, it's like, wow, you know, I can definitely open my chest up and give them my heart because they're actually here for me and they're not here to be against me. Do you know what I mean? I'm realising this with Dorothy now. And so let your emotions be your emotions. Let your feelings be your feelings. But realise you are not them. They are normally a conditioned part of your growing up. Okay, so they're a conditioned part of your growing up. I also did CBT, which is CBT, Cognitive Behaviour Therapist. And it's so funny how when you start to look at when did this thought start to come about and why I'm feeling all that, you can't even remember. You've got to really start digging. I mean, grab a shovel and start to go back to the first time that feeling was like that. And you can do that through meditation or through hypnotherapy and stuff. But when you actually go back to where that was actually planted inside your beautiful forest, it probably wasn't even your seed. It probably came from another person, you know. So I found that it's really important to start having your emotions, understanding the emotions, and realising that you're not part of that emotion. That is just a configuration of how this computer game was set up inside of you.
And never feel embarrassed about your emotions.
No,
you know,
God,
they are.
No. It's beautiful when you can have emotions.
Yeah, and they are part of you. They you know, like they show you also certain
Your
things.
vulnerability.
You can learn a lot from them. And they are an important part of you. You know, it's never something that you should be ashamed of.
I thought when I was younger that was being strong, to be able to let go of this, how I felt that your father should be or your mother should be or your friends should be. So I just like blocked these things out and turned me a little bit stone cold in some kind of way. But I didn't actually get rid of any of this. I just closed it up. Do you know what I mean? And be, feel, see, understand those things that are holding you back. Because as soon as you start to understand what's holding you back, can you free yourself from those things? And so it's super important. I want to go on to a little bit of a lighter note and a really nicer feeling, because as hard as life can be, and I mean, I, as like many people, have had it pretty dark. Life is amazing. You know, every day I wake up, it's like the first thing I say is like, I'm so grateful I get another chance to perfect these things that are still troubling my mind. So gratefulness is a great thing. Like you got me into this 28-day gratefulness challenge and stuff, and it's like when you start to look at things in a grateful way, you also realise other things that you do. It's like, oh, this has just pissed me off. Okay, so it pissed me off. Okay, I'm pissed off about that. But what's something good to come out of that? Well, it made me not want to be like that, or it's made me stronger. These are positive things. These are like,
just find
you can't buy that stuff, you know, when you start looking.
Gratefulness in you know, in even the most adverse situations, you know, like just, you know, like catch yourself and go like, yeah, I'm really upset right now, but you know, what is the good part of it?
What is it?
There's always two sides to the coin, you know. But we can stay stuck in our little ego mind, you know, because our ego mind wants to stay stuck in it, you know. Like it's so hard sometimes to let go of, you know, this feeling of, oh no, you know, it's just not fair, you know, like. It's like, oh, sometimes, you know, we're even like, you know, we look at ourselves and we go like, why can't I let go of this?
That's actually, I think it's not the ego mind, that's more the pain body mind. I think the ego's mind's more like revenge. How can I get this person back for what they've done to me, rather than say, thank you, dude. You just taught me one of the most important things I've ever had to learn in my life.
Yeah, because revenge doesn't do any good to you. It hurts you.
It's
you
a
know,
negative.
You're not hurting anyone with that. You're just hurting yourself. You know.
Like if I want to get back at her, that's happening in here.
Yeah.
It's not actually affecting her.
It doesn't.
Do you know what I mean?
You know, like maybe it affects the other person, but that doesn't even matter if it affects the other person. What matters is it hurts yourself.
Yeah, you're hurting you.
You are hurting yourself. Why would we want to do that to us? You know.
There's another thing I was thinking about today. Like sometimes when I was thinking, through this book, I want to write different situations in life, and I thought, sometimes I felt like, Dorothy, can you do that? Like put your finger out. I felt like she was doing this to me sometimes. It's like, oh God, stop it, you know, like. And actually, I was doing that and bumping onto it myself and trying to blame her for it. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, whoa, Philip, you're holding her finger out and you're going left and right and bumping into her, and then you're trying to blame her for poking you.
That's what we do a lot. Everybody is doing that. We love to
point a finger at someone causing us.
We need someone else to take over the responsibility for what what is so painful for us to look at. You know, it's oh God, mosquitoes. I think.
And you know, Dorothy doesn't like to say bad or good or stuff like this. I would say there's better situations or worse situations, good or bad or whatever. That's how I see it we see it in different ways. If something bad happens or you've been mistreated in some way, don't get stuck on that point. Get stuck on that beautiful day you went with your family to the beach and you were smiling and the kids were playing, you were throwing frisbees. Get stuck on that. Get stuck on the beautiful things.
And you know, like it's okay for the first moment to have this, this reaction of, you know, like,
reaction.
and maybe even the second, you know, like, give yourself the space. Don't judge yourself. We are human beings, you know. It's okay. Don't go like, oh, I shouldn't think like that, you know.
This has been created over time.
It is happening, you know. But, you know, try to snap out of it. You know, whenever you can, go like, okay, I'm snapping out of it. You know, it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. My peace of mind, my happiness in my heart. You know, whatever happens, whoever says something, whatever somebody is doing, it doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't matter how big the other person is doing, you know, whatever it is.
And you feel they're doing.
Your heart, you know, your serenity in your heart, that is important. You know?
I'm not saying you've got to go buy me a bottle of champagne and say, well, thanks for ripping me off because it's taught me a lesson. You don't have to do that.
Well, you can if you want to, if that helps you.
That's Dorothy. But it's more like, be aware. There is better and worse things that are happening. Normally from the worst we end up taking the better and biggest lesson.
Yeah.
So I see a valuable thing, like many people say, life's short. For me, it's always like life's the longest thing we do in this body. Spiritually, I believe we do come back 7 times. I believe in different things through reading different kind of scriptures and Bibles and different people's beliefs. But so in my beliefs, if this life thing is the longest thing we do in this body, what's really important? Time. In this life experience, time is a very valuable thing. So with me wasting my beautiful energy and flow on what someone's done to me, it's I am Philip wasting my time. I'm wasting not their time, I'm wasting my time. And so when we start to like I said to you before, I'm rather mathematical minded. So if I start wasting my own time, that's like giving away my energy and my power and pretty much opening the door to everybody to say, okay, you know what, this life's just I'm going to be here probably for another 20 years or so. Why don't everybody just come take a piece because I've like had enough? No. I'm the master of what I think and what I do. So with becoming the master of what you think and what you do, you start to stop wasting time. Don't waste your time on things that happened yesterday. Rather, look forward to the experience that's going to happen right now.
Or what you can change.
That's coming. That's coming. You know what I mean? It can be bad. You get hurt, like life and death. We have how everybody's different. You have your time of mourning. You have your time of enjoyment. How about if I said to you, let's every time we say hello to somebody or goodbye to them, say it to them and feel like it's maybe the last time you're ever going to see that person. So wouldn't you hug them? And wouldn't you say, be safe on your journey? I can't wait to see you again. Wouldn't that be a more positive way to be feeling gratitude and beautiful towards that person? Because it's life and it's based on time. So it can just finish. It can finish without you expecting it. We don't always get that chance to be able to say, like, you know what, baby, I've got 3 weeks left, so let's make our ends and make our 3 weeks beautiful. You know what I mean?
That's the most incredible thing. Like, you know, we see death all around us, but we never think it's going to happen to us.
Us or our loved ones.
It somehow doesn't cross our minds. Yes, sometimes you go like, oh, it could be at one point. But we're still living on as if we had infinite time, which is beautiful,
Yeah,
you know,
cool.
like,
it's cool.
let's enjoy it.
Let's be more considerate and thinking about every time we say hello to somebody, every time we say goodbye, it could be the last time you're going to see them. Do you know what I mean? So, let's just be more lovable. Let's be more lovable. Because what normally happens, and I realise is that when you have this unfinished business with somebody who passes away, it's unfinished for the rest of your life. That's what normally happens. And your life turns, you can finish it, and like we talked about this, you can write them a letter and come to terms in peace. But if you do that when the person's alive, you have this, it's enormous. It's like I have this beautiful feeling, and I spent my best time when we were together. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, there's always a possibility to clear that up inside of yourself.
But what created suffering? What created suffering, and why not to be on your full charged love flow, which can be saving the world, and you don't even know it because you're just being love and you're just being grateful. And my happiness, saying hello to that neighbour, created a whole different day for them. You know, like I've said before, you're not here to please other people, or you're here to live your best life. If you can live your best life through sadness, I really don't believe that is possible. I really believe you live your best life through love, happiness, and acceptance of yourself. And so all these walls that we build up, trying to be accepted and fit in with other people, we've slowly taken them away. And this is the naked Philip. And I just want to be good feelings for everybody I meet. And it's weird in my work because a lot of people try to escape work, and if I see someone working, I'm always over there and trying to help out, and they're like, they'll look at me a little bit weird, and they're like, you're fucking weird, dude. And it's like, excuse the French, you're weird. Normally everyone's trying to escape work, and it's like, yeah, but we work together. It's like a brotherhood. So how can I just sit there and watch you work? And it also, you know what it does? It creates this same feeling when I'm doing something. Someone will ask me now if I want some help. And my ego doesn't get involved and say, who are you to help me? My ego's like, I'm pretty well okay, but see if we can have a chat whilst I'm doing it. Or, yeah, man, can you help me move this? You know, like, because you let go of that ego defense mechanism, which opens up your heart and your vibration, obviously, your vibrational field, you know? Yeah.
All right.
And I really want to start making our talks also, unless someone writes in they've got something. Like a great thing that Donna wrote today about this corrupt, because there is a corruptness that happens to us from when we're kids at school, and then hopefully we grow up and we become adults and masters of our own minds and emotions and feelings, and we start to weed out these little things that are not being positive in our lives.
That are not, it's always like hard to say, but
Yeah,
you know, if it's not
good,
resonating with you, I think this is the best way to detect
resonate. People
it,
we don't. It's hard for us to even realise what resonation is. But something that I learned from her right now, it helped me walk along this street. I don't need that for the next street. So when you're in touch with yourself, we get these lessons and we leave them there on that street, so that next person might need it also when he's crossing that street. Do you know what I mean? Resonating is something that feels good.
That feels somehow right, you know. Like if you feel inside, you know if it resonates with you, you know. Like even if you stand on both feet and you think about the thing that where you go like, oh, I'm not sure about it, and you stand and close your eyes, and you can feel if you're shaking or if you're standing really solid. This is already where your body is telling you, you know, like this thought feels somehow it's resonating, it feels somehow solid and right, or it just, you know, you can do that, you know. If you're not sure about it, stand on both feet, close your eyes, think about the thing, and you will feel your body reacting.
Yeah,
you know.
definitely. And so I want to get on that. Also, on like let someone write something in. We can start looking at the little things and changes we can create in our own lives. Not that someone has to create for us, that start helping us to have happier days. Like with like that prayer, like that prayer, we can even post that,
Yeah.
and you will see like in the short amount of time how you just start feeling better. Even though you're just reading something, but slowly the reading of it, you start to understand it more.
If you want to send us a private message, we can send can send you the words. It's a certain vibration. The words are a certain vibration, and this vibration is changing your energy field, and
it's like standing in front of the mirror.
This change of your energy field is causing you to attract different things into your life. So.
It's like standing in front of the mirror and telling yourself you love yourself. Many people are like, oh, that's so hard, I can't do that. How can you not love you? How is it possible that you can't love you? Either you're doing something really wrong, or I don't know what, because
it's the thing is, like, I've had that in my
of course,
teenage.
I can understand, but when we become adults, I understand it, because I also was feeling very not loved or whatever. And I also felt unworthy to be able to have a girlfriend or be able to... A lot of things made me feel unworthy because of my grow up. But then you come to a stage in your life where you're like, okay, this is it. And I can make this into something amazing, or I can make this into something sad. So if anyone wants the words, these words that we have, and these have come from a higher being, apparently.
From the guides.
I didn't really believe it, but... after doing it for like a couple of weeks now, it's like, whoa, God, the world's taken on this totally different smell.
Completely different dynamic.
Yeah. Wow, it's actually made me, because I was like really one of these, I hated driving, And now I'm driving to work and coming home and I'm like, well, it wasn't that bad. It's my way to work, It's like, but I was like really... One of the weeks when I started, Dorothy was actually driving me to work, driving home, and I was like, oh, thank God. And it was like...
1.5 hours, 2 hours driving.
Bad husband. But it was like, well, Wayne, you're like a really special wife. And now it's like, no, this anger in the road, okay, he might be really in a rush to get somewhere, so make space and let him go, you know what I mean? And, now it's kind of, I realise that, okay, it's my way to work, so... Go there and get back. I've got to drive the car or ride my motorbike, which I've fixed up now, so I'll be riding that next week. So if you want the words, just write a message, or even on this, you just write a message, and we can send these words, and they're really uplifting. It really makes you. It's like they're uplifting, right?
Yeah, there are so many things that you can do to, slowly change your whole,
vibrational field,
your being, your mindset, everything. It's amazing. There are so many tools. I mean, we want to put a course together, so bit by bit, slowly put this all into a course. But it's powerful. It's powerful, and this is not only to feel better. Yes, that's the first point, but. If you feel better, your whole life changes.
And becomes better.
You attract more of everything.
More of what you're wanting in your life, not misery, but love and happiness. And slowly, this is what happens. And someone comes in like me, cuts off throat, and I'm like, oh, you blah 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 blah. And they cut the right off, and I was like, back up a bit. I leave at 4:30 in the morning to get to work at 6, in case something happens. And with that, being able to do that, as many people want to jump in front of me as they can. And it's like, I'm still going to get to work, and it's all relaxed. I've got my Doors playing, or sometimes I have some other different music on, and it's like, okay, cool, it's like totally relaxed, giving myself space and giving the rest of the universe space as well, so it's no like
this is
crazy rush.
This is how life, it's very like traffic is very much like a mirror to our life. Some people are going into a competition and trying to overtake one another, and others are just like they're begging off, they're letting the others in, and like flowing with the flow, going with the flow. It's very metaphoric,
Yeah.
for actually life, you know. But
Yeah.
if you're going with the flow, you are arriving like everybody else, but you know, you're
Without
arriving
the
with
stress.
a lot more peace in mind.
And without the stress, definitely.
Yeah.
And again, if anyone's got anything they want to write, we can write you back. If you feel like there's something you want to share just with one of us or whatever, write a personal
You can
message.
also write us personally,
Yeah.
or if you know, like even
everything's-
if you feel like you have something that you would like to, you know, talk about,
Or
work,
you need a
work,
resolution
you
for,
know,
maybe.
like you know, you want to work on that or something, you know,
Yeah.
like
Caroline.
yeah, Caroline.
Yeah.
Hallo nach Deutschland.
Like I said again, I'm thinking everyone, Donna, Joe, my cousin
Yeah.
Christia, my
But
cousin
we're
Anne,
amazed.
who she was here.
We're amazed.
Caroline.
It's awesome. Like, you know, like it's just, I feel like we're really creating this beautiful community
All of us, not
space.
us. All
yeah.
of us are creating this beautiful energy.
Where we feel like, I just love the idea that people, you know, can take something for their better, for their own out of it, you know, to get better, to feel more light, or, you know, just more peaceful, whatever it is, you know.
Yeah.
All right, we love you
Yeah.
so much. Yes. We love you so much.
Thank you for joining
We
us
send
tonight.
right now
Thank you
our
very
love
much.
to you.
Yeah, to all
I
of
hope
you.
you can receive it and you're gonna feel it.
Yeah.
And we're gonna see you tomorrow.
Yeah, we're doing it every day. We're going to the beach tomorrow, though. We're going to the beach because it's going to be some waves.
But we're gonna be there anyway.
Yeah, maybe in the afternoon, definitely.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you,
Lots
thank
of
you.
love to everybody. I'm overwhelmed about everything.
Yeah.
I'm just happy.
Awesome.